Hey guys, I'm Kelton, this is Obsessed Reviews. So Mazda has revealed the EZ-6 and that was about 2 days ago at the Beijing Auto Show. So this vehicle is a partnership with a Chinese brand, excuse me if I butchered the name, but Chang'an I think is what it's called. And this is going to be a new electric sedan for the Chinese market. It won't be coming to the US, I'm pretty sure, but it's a very interesting sedan, and I kind of imagine if it did come to the US, it would compete with like the Model 3. So let's talk about it. So let's start with the exterior of the EZ-6. When I first saw the EZ-6, it really threw me off and I was like, what is this? It looked really fugly to me. I couldn't wrap my head around it. The more and more I saw photos though, the more I began to warm up to it, especially after photos of it in person. But it's still something that I feel like I'm gonna have to really get into. And it's not like I have to, because once again, we're not getting it in the US. But especially with the beige / goldish exterior colors, I really am starting to like it. The front end has a really elegant and aggressive design, which is kind of what we're used to from Mazda. And the thin headlights, it has some really thin headlights that flow into the grille. The grille itself, it's not an actual grille. You can probably tell from the photos, but it's not an actual grille. It's more like a flat surface with lights that kind of shape the usual Mazda U grille. And I think that's a really nice design, and it kind of keeps it cohesive with the rest of their models. I still don't particularly like the side profile of the the EZ-6, because the way the roof is so high and then it kind of slopes down and then just ends. It's a really distasteful design in my opinion, but I mean, it's whatever. And I do like the trim and the Mazda badge that is on the side, which is also on the CX-90 and 70. So that's just a really nice design that I hope they put on more vehicles, because it's really pretty. The wheel design that I'm seeing on all of the photos looks really good. It looks very simple and it's just a pretty design. It definitely is not as extreme or as nice looking as the concept photos of when they sketched it, but it's still a nice look, and it definitely looks better in person. Well, not in person, but it definitely looks better at the auto show than it does in the photos that Mazda gave us. And I feel like an inch more in diameter, because these do look like 18s. An inch more, maybe 19s or 20s would have looked way better, especially considering this is going to be an electric vehicle that's going to compete with the Model 3, etc. Because the Model 3 is available in China, and they offer the 20-inch rims for the performance model, but obviously we haven't seen a performance version of this yet, so we'll see. Now, as for the design, the rear end is what I hated the most looking at it at first, because it just looked so weird and completely different from anything that Mazda has done so far. So I was looking at the rear design, and I was looking at the taillights, and to me, there just was so much going on, and I just couldn't even figure out what I wanted to look at. It was too much going on, especially with like the full span taillight, because that's something I've never seen Mazda do. And then it just goes into circles, and it just looked weird. But looking at it closely, it looks pretty good. But yeah, not much more to say there. I think the coolest element of the design is at the rear. It's the raisable spoiler that they have, which is very Porsche-esque, and I've never seen Mazda do that also. It's a really pretty and just cool thing to do. But let me know what y'all think. And moving on to the interior, I think that the EZ-6 has a really beautiful interior. It's a lot more of a simple design than some of Mazda's other designs, which I feel like they've kind of been moving to more simple designs lately, but it's still definitely way more simplified than anything they offer right now in the US. The cabin is more centralized around the screen, which is a 14.7 inch screen, and that's the biggest screen I've seen Mazda do so far for an infotainment screen. But I feel like the way everything kind of centers around it, it's giving very much Tesla Model 3 or Tesla Model S. It's still, arguably, it's definitely better than both of those interiors though. The gauge cluster is a fully digital gauge cluster, and it is 10.2 inches in size. And I also think this is only the second time that Mazda has done a fully digital gauge cluster. Well, third if we count the CX, was it 60 or 70? CX-70, which is the same thing as the CX-90, but I digress. With the updated technology, I think that the interior is a very sharp design, which is why the simplicity kind of works in my opinion. But speaking of simplicity, the climate controls are fully integrated into the touchscreen from what I can see, and there is a lack of hard buttons really anywhere. Even on the steering wheel, I think those are just touch sensitive buttons and not actual buttons, which I know is very much not popular in the United States for a lot of people. And some people don't mind it, but still. But of course, this isn't for us, so I don't know what people's opinions are about it in China, but I can't imagine it'd be that much different. The use of luxurious materials in this interior is not missing, because of course this is a Mazda we're talking about, and I love the caramel upholstery of this interior and the two-tone aspect of it. And the one thing I noticed about this interior is that we get a lot more luxury features that I've never seen Mazda do before. We get reclining seats in the front seat, which is just crazy. And you can see there is speakers in the headrest, which suggests to me that they may have more speakers than usual, because in the US at least, we are working with the 12-speaker Bose premium audio system, and they don't really go above that in any of their models, even the CX-90. So either we have a Bose system with more speakers, or we have a completely different audio system, which is kind of crazy to think about considering their loyal partnership with Bose. I really love how the faux wood kind of flows straight into the aluminum trim, which goes upwards and then kind of corners at the door. And to me, that kind of screams last generation Mazda 6, which was one of my favorite parts of that interior. So it's cool that they kept that, and it's kind of why I say this is like just a redesigned last generation Mazda 6, just a lot more simplified than we would have thought, and it's nothing like the renders that people keep making. Okay, and moving on to the powertrain, the EZ-6, if I can get that right, the EZ-6 will also be available as a plug-in hybrid, and no information has been made available about the engine that's going to pair with that. I can imagine it will either be the inline 6 or it will be their regular engine that is available in all the other cars, and it will be rear-wheel drive for the electric model. Mazda has also talked about they used a front strut and multi-link suspension, which is different from the torsion beam that we experienced in the Mazda 3, and they have 50-50 weight distribution, so that's going to be cool for performance if they do commit to performance models. And the range is something I really want to touch on for the EZ-6, because the reason that the MX-30 failed in the United States, I think, is first of all the range. The range only was 100 miles, and nobody is going to be able to do anything with that. And it was only available in California, and the design was not something that everybody could get around. So the MX-30 failed basically and only had 2 model years to live, and then they canceled and discontinued it. And this is a lot different. The estimated range for the EZ-6 is 370 miles. And the plug-in hybrid will be able to do 620 miles on a single tank, and that's amazing. 620 miles is better than a lot of regular gas cars can do, so that's just so amazing. And I can imagine that's probably going to have the same powertrain from the CX-90 and 70. And then the 370 mile, that's just so good because that's actually competitive with something like the Model 3 or the Ioniq 5. So yeah. It's also said that Mazda will offer something called intelligent parking technology, and that's supposed to be something similar to Hyundai's Smart Park or Tesla's Summon feature. So I'm really excited to see what that's gonna be. Look at Mazda again with the times, that's crazy. So to kind of wrap this up, I seriously do doubt we're getting this in the US, and there's no signs that we will, but I really do hope that we still do get the 6E or something of the sort for the US, because that just would be so amazing, and it'd probably be so much fun, because there's all this speculation about the inline 6 engine in the Mazda 6 and all these other things. And the 6E patent was actually made in Europe, so we can't even be sure that that's going to come to the US. So it's really the possibility of something for sedans from Mazda coming to the US is really just about as much in the air as it was when the Mazda 6 was discontinued, which is sad. And it's just sad. I really do hope we do get something. And Mazda keeping the EZ-6 in China probably was a good decision, because I don't know how this would do in the US market. I think it would do a lot better than the MX-30 did, but we still don't know, especially, and I doubt they could because of their partnership with the company Changan to make this car. So with the fail of the MX-30, I think that Mazda is kind of just taking time to step back and figure out what they want to do and not really worry about sedans in the US market. But I really do hope that we get something, but I'm just not getting my hopes up. Right now we have the Mazda 3, and hopefully that stays around, and Mazda's making some really beautiful and powerful and luxurious vehicles in the US. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. If you guys enjoyed this video and if you made it this far, please subscribe and please like and leave a comment and tell me what you think about the EZ-6. This is a really nice vehicle, and I hope that we get something like it. Anyways, y'all have a good day, and bye. I was just a little boy, everybody told me you could be whatever you wanna be. So I told myself, I'ma be a singer, I'ma play on the keys. I can do whatever I want if I just believe, yeah. But then over the years, everybody's telling me to find a career, and I'll be rolling my eyes, thinking I'll be alright with my guitar.